Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Filmy Recap. Today I'm going to explain Fantasy Island movie. The movie starts off evolved on an island with a lady named Sloane Madison going for walks from some. She calls the island's owner, Mr. Roarke, for help, but he reminds her she is a visitor there, and Sloane is captured by means of her pursuer. Later on, an aircraft full of visitors arrive at Fantasy Island, the place Roarke greets them alongside with his assistant Julia. Among them are Gwen Olsen, Melanie Cole, Patrick Sullivan, and stepbrothers J.D. and Brax Weaver. Roarke tells them that all of their best fantasies can be fulfilled till they attain their natural conclusion. Watching the friends from afar is a man referred to as Damon. After the visitors get to be aware of every other, Roarke starts off evolved to take them to their fantasies. He brings J.D. and Brax to a myth of an endless party, the place J.D. hangs out with a crowd of stunning ladies whilst Brax hangs out with good-looking guys and a bunch of weed. While partying, Brax sees what appears like an apparition of a horribly burnt man. The subsequent morning, Gwen meets Roarke, who asks her questions precise to her background. She is proven to her fantasy, a restaurant, the place she rejected, an inspiration from her ex-boyfriend in order to pursue her profession goals. She is met by means of the ex-boyfriend, Alan, Robbie Jones. He is actual and has been roped into the fantasy, which Gwen feels awful for. However, she enjoys reconnecting with Alan, and when he proposes as soon as again, she chooses to accept. Melanie talks to Patrick about her non-public fantasy, which is to torment her former faculty bully. Roarke then brings her to a basement, the place she finds Sloane tied up at the back of a two-way mirror. Thinking it's simply a hologram, Melanie proceeds to torture her by way of zapping her or dumping lavatory water on her. She then uploads a video of Sloane having an affair with some other man, which is posted on Facebook for her husband to see. The laptop then calls her husband, and Melanie shortly realizes that Sloane is virtually there, and she tries to cease her from getting harm more. A man dressed as a healthcare provider enters Sloane's arm till Melanie turns on the cattle prod and lavatory water to electrocute, Dr. Torture, and free Sloane. Melanie pretends to be a visitor to no longer let Sloane recognize she was once torturing her. Mr. Sullivan confronts Patrick after discovering a photograph of himself with his very own son in Patrick's belongings. He displays that is him as a child, and Mr. Sullivan is his father. Although he proves records solely each of them may want to know, Mr. Sullivan is no longer satisfied that Patrick will do whatever to forestall him from his fate, which will take place all through a hostage rescue mission in Venezuela that will take place the subsequent day. Gwen wakes up to discover that she has already married Alan and that they have a 5-year-old daughter named Lila, Jeria Ben. Gwen tries to locate Roarke and trade her fantasy, due to the fact this is no longer what she had in mind. She talks to Julia and tells her that her delusion was once to go lower back and keep anybody from a furnace she caused. He tells Gwen that his very own delusion used to be capable to see his lifeless wife, and it can solely proceed as lengthy as he fulfills the guest's fantasies. Although Roarke in the beginning refuses, Gwen convinces him to let her enter the new fable after pointing out that he can solely see his spouse if he lets her have her fantasy. Kalashev's head thug interrogates J.D. and Brax over some cash that is supposedly in the mansion. They attempt to trick the thugs by way of pronouncing that the cash is in the garage, the place their weapons are. At the identical time, Gwen enters her new fable to the burning building. She sees J.D. and Brax walking away. She tries to make her way into the burning condominium to shop the victim, Nick Taylor. She runs backyard to get help, discovering Patrick there as a cop who doesn't assist, seeing that he wishes to wait for the firefighters. Gwen runs lower back interior, however goes unconscious till she is discovered by means of Julia. Patrick and the troopers arrive to the website of the hostage situation, which takes place to be the mansion. After J.D. and Brax control to combat off some of the thugs. However, they come lower back to lifestyles as zombies. J.D. and Mr. Sullivan quit up killed, with neither Brax nor Patrick capable to assist them. Melanie, Sloane, and Damon are attacked via a zombie Dr. Torture, who as soon as once more tries to assault Sloane till Damon sacrifices himself via throwing himself and the doctor over the side of a cliff. The female then returned to the torture room to attain a phone. Sloane calls her husband and apologizes to him over her deception, whilst additionally the usage of it as an apology towards Melanie. They then contact Damon's friends for assist to escape. As the entirety is beginning to get worse, the visitors accumulate to confront Roarke and his henchmen over the fantasy, as they are all in the myth of anyone who wishes them dead, and Gwen concludes they are all related to Nick. She triggered the fireplace that killed him via by chance leaving the kettle on in her apartment, and Patrick was once at the scene however didn't go in to help. JD was once Nick's roommate and was once going to take a look at on him. However Brax made him leave. Melanie used to be supposed to go on a date with Nick that night time however received ill and backed out, that means Nick wouldn't have died if she used to be with him. They then run to capture the plane. However it is shot down by means of the thugs. The visitors run to disguise and consider that Julia was once Nick's mom who needs revenge on them. They unravel to ruin Roarke's fountain to cease the fable altogether. The crew enters the cave to locate the fountain, the place they are attacked by way of manifestations of their private demons. Sloane sees her bullying self, whilst Patrick is attacked by using lifeless human beings he couldn't save. And Gwen sees that Lila has killed Alan. Nick's ghost additionally seems earlier than her however doesn't be aware of who Julia is when Gwen mentions her. After they combat absolutely everyone off. Melanie seems earlier than Patrick and begins stabbing him. The others attain the fountain to damage it with a grenade, however
तो
Roarke
उसे
stops
उसकी
them.
वाइफ जूलिया से मिल जाती है, साथ ही वो उससे उन सबको बचाने की रिक्वेस्ट करने लग जाती है और इसे समझाते हुए कहती है कि ये सब लोग इस आइलैंड के नहीं बल्कि तुम्हारे मेहमान हैं और तुम्हें इन लोगों को बचा लेना चाहिए। और रॉक वापस वहाँ पे पहुंचकर स्लोन को बताता है कि सबको यहाँ पर अपनी फैंटेसी मिलती है और तुम्हें भी मिलेगी, जिसके बाद स्लोन अपने हाथ में लिया हुआ पानी पी लेती है और फिर मिनाली से कहती है विक्टियर के पास ही चले जाओ और तभी विक्टियर पत्थर के पानी से निकलता है और मिनाली को अपने
He
साथ
does so and goes to assist the others. He tells Sloane that she nevertheless has to fulfill a fantasy. She drinks from the canteen and desires for Melanie and Nick to stop up together. Nick's zombie then emerges from the fountain and pulls Melanie inside, inflicting the zombies to disappear. She jumps out rapidly to throw again the grenade, however Patrick throws himself onto it to store everyone. Gwen, Sloane, and Brax wake up the subsequent day as they are making ready to leave. Roarke tells Brax that he technically lived out JD's fantasy, so he nonetheless has one he can use. His myth is for JD to return domestic alive, which would suggest he would have to remain on the island. Brax agrees, and JD goes domestic on the aircraft with Gwen and Sloane. Brax then exhibits JD's nickname for him, Tattoo. He stays and will become Roarke's new assistant.